Hello and welcome to Jill Cameron Creations. Thanks for joining me today. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss a single thing. When was the last time you used a paper punch? I have 3 containers full of punches, including these border punches here, which I have not used in a very long time. And one of my goals for this year is to dust off some of my supplies that I haven't used in a while and actually make cards with them. It's been so long since I've used these, I went ahead and punched everything just so I could see what the results were of the punches. I'm creating 3 different cards today. For the first card, I'm going to punch the same border on a rainbow of cardstock. I had in my bin, so I decided I was going to use them. For border punches like this, I always started in the middle and then aligned the image on each side with the pattern that extended out. And for this particular card, it ends up looking like it's a lace front on the card. You can see over to the left, I already have my sentiment die cut out and some little sub-sentiments heat embossed on white cardstock there. There's also an older Stampin' die set from Concord and 9th that I don't think I've ever used and I've had for years. On this last punch, and I am going to go ahead and trim these down so they are the same width and it won't be so much bulk on the front of the card. The rest border was the perfect width, so I just used a pencil and marked all the other pieces to that width, and I'm going to use my Fiskars paper trimmer to trim each piece down. That was a whole lot easier than trying to measure these out. And I do have to say that using these paper punches was a completely different skill set that I have not used in a very long time. I never quite mastered the art of being able to use these kinds of punches all the way around the edge of a card without the pattern getting funky. But they are handy little things to have to add just a little touch of something, texture, that kind of thing, to a card. And it's not as heavy as a die cutting machine if you're going to a crop. Next, we're going to go ahead and attach the borders to the front of our card, and I went from left to right and I put glue on the very back edge of that border so that I could slide each piece under the next one. And as I added pieces, I ended up picking up my card and bending it back just slightly and sliding the piece in, and that worked really, really well. I wasn't worried about perfect alignment. I just wanted them spaced pretty much the same distance apart and made sure that they were aligned top and bottom so they weren't hanging out over the edge of my card too much. To finish off this card, we'll pop on the sentiments, and I'm going to glue the die cut sentiment flat down to the card and then pop up the little sub-sentiments that go with it with some foam tape. I also added glitter to the beautiful sentiment with a Nuvo glitter gloss pen. And finishes up our first card using a border punch. I absolutely love this intertwined look border, and the first thing that I thought of when I saw this was gold cardstock and navy. So I'm going to punch this out of gold cardstock, and then I'm going to trim this down so that I can put it behind the edge of the navy and add a simple sentiment to it, and it's a beautifully elegant card. For the last card, I'm going to do some ink blending, and I'm using scrapbook.com inks and Altenew little small blenders. I love these things. They're so easy on my hands. This is going to be a landscape card. I punch the star border punch that I have at the top and the bottom of the panel. Sentiment is white heat embossed in the center, and I do go back and add a little bit more of the pink ink in the middle so that it stands out a little bit more. I also add a piece of silver cardstock behind this panel so that it looks like silver stars are peeking through. And that's our final card for dusting off our border punches that are collecting dust in bins and boxes and on shelves in our craft room. Pull them out and give them a try. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this old school, pulling out those border punches and dusting off some of those old craft supplies and using that crafty stash that you have. Y'all have an amazing day, and I will see you again soon.